how to use the apply image command in Photoshop with text to create all kinds of amazing text effects very simply from a couple of layers, some text layers. PC or Mac. I'm going to be using different text layers in this. So here, Layers panel, you can find that in the window menu, and it's just made up of different text. Usefully, when you type text, it puts the word like flowing. If the word is flowing, it will say flowing. Or love, that's obviously a 3D one. This one's a blurred effect created using Lorem Ipsum. And there's a whole variety of different ones. You can also use different layers that are not even text, something like gradient. Now you'll notice what I've done. I've actually got them not visible, and you can turn them off. To use them, it does seem that you need to actually turn them back on again. But when you're typing them, creating them, I find it easier just to create them anywhere. Doesn't matter, you can go and create a layer. So I'm just going to create type layer now. Anything, you. Just going to take something like that. So create that, and you can see the layer. It doesn't matter where it is in the layers panel because you will access it, and there you can see it down there. You can modify it, create additional ones. So layer and duplicate layer. So you can create a copy there, and you've got a copy, and you can apply blurs to it. So let's just go to filter and blur and Gaussian blur. Just a very simple blur. Convert smart object, perfectly reasonable. Click OK. Doesn't matter if it's a smart object or if it's just a standard layer. Matters not. You can still see it here. It will still be usable with the apply image. And you can rename it. So this time I'm going to say the word you blurred. I just find it easier not to have text actually visible. Otherwise you end up confusing yourself which layer you're working on, the colours you're working on, with lots and lots of text layers. Just make them all not visible. It does mean you actually have to turn them on. To use them, you need to turn them on. It does seem, even though it looks like it accesses it, it doesn't. So I'm just going through all these and putting them on. And then what I'm going to go to a completely fresh document, and I'm going to use that. So all those, you can see all those text layers now added there. So they're all visible. Go to a new one, and the document needs to be the same size. That's a key thing. No use if you create a document that's a different size. Also, it needs to be in the same colour format, RGB, etc. So File and New, and I'm going to go for 1920, 1080. As always, it shows the guides, clear guides, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. So this is a layer you've just got fresh, completely fresh. I'm going to unlock it. So unlock it. I like to unlock. It always slightly bugged me that it's always locked when I start it up. I prefer it unlocked. And I'm going to fill it with black. So edit and fill. I'm just going to fill it with black there. Now I can apply image. And that's using that text.psd file. I'm just going to save it. So file and save. So I've got everything saved, everything visible. But I can access it from this document as well. So image and apply image. And it uses all that text, and you could create millions of different text designs. There's the merge one, and you can see that's this current document. That's the key thing. I'm using this current layer, untitled, but I can go back to text.psd and I can use flowing. You'll notice, because it's black, of course, multiply, it's not going to show anything. So the first one you need to do is maybe go for difference or something like that to display it. So there's the effect. That's just using that layer with the word flowing. You can see the word flowing there. I could, of course, use flowing or some other one, a blurred one, or you blurred. And you can see you blurred there. Again, with difference. Or use the red or green for that. Obviously, because it's mainly red, it's not very clear. Go for red there, and you can see it a lot brighter. And click OK. And you can see the effect there. You can combine it with effects as well. You don't have to leave it just like this. You can turn around and say, I want to distort this or transform it. And that's the good thing about unlocking it. It means you can transform it. Go over here to the move tool and resize it, rotate it. Use the bounding box. You can rotate it like that. show transform controls. Very useful to have that on, because then you can resize it, rotate it. You can make it bigger. Maybe resize it. Not good going the other way. So you might just want to resize it a little bit, only a little bit. Don't want to push it too far. Press return. Still a layer, you can go to image and apply image. And now you can see the word, obviously that U blurred again, combined this time, but of course it was slightly smaller. It's a pity that they didn't add a scaling or rotation feature to this apply image, and randomize as well. It'd be really brilliant if there was a randomize feature. That would be superb. So red, and probably a few other things I can think of that would be really nice to add to it. But it hasn't been updated for years. Very powerful tool, along with calculations. That's a key feature as well. Just go there. That's in the image menu, calculations. And it uses channels in that case. And this is useful with channels as well, like with masks. And you can see channel here, so you can add lots of channels to use. But you can go for blue, or if you want to bring colour into it, go with RGB. And you can see now you've got colour there. Click OK. Very handy to go for image, apply image and shortcut. Makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to be using a shortcut unless I forget and go back to the menu. Again, difference, you don't have to use just difference. You can go through linear light. U blurred, I can go for another one. Dream, so you can see the word dream there. Or fly. That one's slightly blurred. Fly copy, I can't remember what that was. Oh, that's one of the distorted ones. That's using the wave filter to distort it. Again, Lorem Ipsum, so you can bring in lots of text. So you've got that text there, it's like massive amount of text. Again, linear light, but this time difference, or add. These ones are great, add and subtract. Really useful because you can change how it goes, how bright or dark, just by using the scale and offset. You can't use add and subtract normally. They're not available. But in this case, apply image, you've got access to add and subtract. Very useful combining different layers and channels. And you've got that, and click OK. And you, of course, go for 100% or 50%. You don't have to use 100%. Click OK. Control M again, Lorem Ipsum. I'm going to go with, say, the gradient. Bring the gradient, so you've got the gradient. Doesn't have to be text. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have text all the way through, but if you want to add some colour very quickly into it, you can just use this and go with difference. So you can see now you've got that. Again, red, green. So just go through the channels. And this is a great feature of the apply image. Something you can't access particularly easy, the channel information for the layers. This is the layer information that's got channels. So the blue for that. And you can see the result by just simply going through this. And also you've got invert. Always remember to turn that off sometimes. Sometimes I've been working with that and you leave it on and you get confused about why is it doing it slightly incorrectly. And that's often the reason, the invert. You've got masks, super useful as well. Click there and you can bring in masks as well. And you can see you can create a variety. And you can use all of them as a mask. So you can run through that. Very useful. Or just turn it off. You don't have to. Masks add a lot of additional features. Again, difference, pin light, go through them. Just try them out, run through them. Maybe go with that one, colour dodge and gradient. Or maybe go for blurred. Click OK. And you can see you could build up like a document, loads and loads of documents with lots of different text, whole loads of different layers, which you can then combine again with all the channel information as well. So that's really useful for building up projects with lots of different text files, text designs. Let's just go again. Control M, and you can see try blurred but green, maybe go with RGB. And you can see the result there. Click OK. Well, you don't have to keep just this. You can turn around and say, I want to blur this, or maybe apply filter effects to it. So you can just go over here to filter and stylize and oil paint. I'd suggest go for a low value. Actually, if you go any higher than about 3 or 2, the text I don't want to be completely blurred. So click OK, cleanness, not using the light. But you can see the result there. You can also go to image, adjustments, maybe levels. Sometimes it does tendency to get slightly dark and you think, oh, you know what, I can't see the text anyway. So click OK. And then you can continue with that. Or duplicate this layer. Or go to layer and new layer. Create another new layer, edit, fill. And instead of black, it could be white. Click OK. Or go to the gradient tool, create a gradient, and then use that. Apply image again. So Command M in this case, and you can see the word try there, try blurred. Go there, gradient, you can combine those, or go to U blurred, and you can see the word U. That was one of the blurred ones. Color dodge, go for difference. Then click OK. Control M. But you can also use this current document. This is obviously in Untitled. I can use, obviously this one is merged now, but I can use the first layer. And you can see the first layer, that was that one there, layer 0. And you can see the result of blurring and combining those with difference or different blend modes. Maybe go with hard mix. And you can see the result there of combining these layers. Click OK. And again, Control M. And then go maybe back to text.psd. Go from merge, maybe go for love. Go for RGB, green, hard mix, difference, and you can see the word love there, obviously 3D, maybe very pronounced, so you can just see it in the background there. Now sometimes I think it's very hard to see what you're actually getting. I do find that occasionally I get a bit thinking, am I going to get something that and you can always undo. You don't have to keep, and if it does get to the point where it slightly starts getting confusing, my suggestion is always, and this is what I always do, is save it, close Photoshop down and come back into it, and then generally that sort of sorts it out and you think, yes, I understand which ones it's selecting, which ones it's not, because suddenly you end up with something you think, why is it creating that? And you can always look at it again, and I think that's always the best thing. Whenever I close it and start it again, then it shows sometimes I've made an error, like the invert, left that on by accident, or I've got a mask or something, which I don't always see when I'm just going through it very quickly, sort of looking at these layers, and you think, why is it going wrong? Click OK. Okay, M, and you can see the effect there. Again, difference, just try something else. Happen, the word happen there, and you can see happen appears. And you can really create vast amounts of combinations. Again, go to filters, maybe go for a distort and wave. Just distort it. Wave effect. This layer can be duplicated, layer and duplicate layer. Click OK. Go to that layer. You can always select any of the layers. Any of the layers can be selected again. It's just a layer, so you can just go to layers and filter and blur and Gaussian blur. So just blur it. Of course, you can't see it because it's the beneath that. You can always select that and go for blend modes. I think it's probably best to avoid trying to combine with that and that. You really get yourself confusing things with blend modes there and blend modes in the apply mode, and sometimes the results might not be exactly what you think you should get. That's what I found anyway. So image, again, down there, apply image, and you can see the word happen there again, or go make up some words, creative, and you can have them at different angles, have text, maybe distort the text, distort it in like using the perspective warp or distort, transform commands, just to distort them. Click OK. And again, you've got this layer, go to the move tool and resize it. Always resize slightly bigger, maybe rotate that side, just to avoid getting these sharp edges into the mix. Maybe go to filter, stylize, oil paint, and blur it just slightly, and then again, Control M, and you can see then you've got that text blur. It would be brilliant if there was a randomize, if there was a scale and rotate in this. I would love to see that, because then you could just select that, rotate things, check out things. That would make it infinitely more powerful. Again, just go there, the word wow. Sometimes you can't see something and you think, that's strange. You think, but you can just see it sometimes when you go to subtract or pin light or soft light. You think, why can't I see it with the other one? I'm not saying no, sometimes really, I think, very strange. Multiply. And maybe it's just because of the colour, of course, of the text. You might get you've got the wrong colour, you just will not see it, and it just doesn't work. They are like that one there. Now, if you find that when you're using it, I've got U blurred, that you don't get the text that you think you should get, I would suggest go back to the original document and make certain it is visible. Of Because if it's not visible, and I've done this during my tutorial run-throughs, where I've suddenly noticed that I haven't got it selected, haven't got it visible, and it will always select the layer below, which is really quite annoying because you're suddenly using something and you're thinking, why is it using that? It doesn't always use the thing you think it should be using, and that is common reason, I think. Make certain it's visible. So there it is, you, and you can see then you've got this text. And of course at the end of it, you can flatten the whole thing, maybe combine it, or go and use blend modes, etc., effects, and many more. And use this layer as well. Perfectly reasonable as well. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. How do you think you'll be using this sort of feature? Do you think it's a great feature? Would be lovely to know. Thank you much.